Pacifica at the Coastside Farmers Market, and I'm joined by Erin, who is the manager of the Farmers Market and the founder of Coastside Farmers Markets. Isn't that right?
Yes, it is.
Now, Erin, you started the Farmers Markets in Half Moon Bay, is that right?
That's correct,
And how long ago was that?
So we are going to be this year going into our 11th full season.
Wow.
So it was actually 12 seasons ago.
Wow.
Our first season was just a once a month, see if it would fly kind of a situation. So yeah, we're going into our 11th full season in Half Moon Bay this year. That opens on Saturday, and today's opening day for the 6th season in Pacifica.
Nice.
Yeah.
And it's primarily local farmers? Is that the whole idea behind your farmers markets?
That's right. It was the whole philosophy and our guiding philosophy was that we wanted to make a direct market available to many of our local growers who, even though there were a number of large markets in the urban areas and our communities and close to our counties, very few of them participated in those markets for a number of reasons, not the least of which was that the general idea about what was grown out here on the coast was that all we had was artichokes, Brussels sprouts, pumpkins, and the occasional Christmas tree. And actually the diversity of products that are available is pretty astounding, although we do have a somewhat isolated, not an isolated climate, but it's certainly a microclimate and a different kind of ecosystem out here. So certain things grow here beautifully that don't grow in the valley. So we wanted to showcase our local San Mateo County growers, give them a venue and a voice that was strictly theirs. The only produce that we allow into the market is stuff that's being grown that we don't grow here at all, like the stone fruit and that kind of thing. And as you can see from today, it's still a little in the season, a little early in the season for that. And then there's certain kinds of just market demand, so that we have some growers that are just close to San Mateo County that come in and sort of fill in the blanks for us.
Yeah. And it looks like now you're in the farming business or the egg business. Tell us about that.
Well, actually, part of the reason I started the market was that I had a very small farm, and I always supplemented my income doing event management and work in the nonprofit sector, a lot of interim directorships, that kind of thing. And I worked a lot in projects that had to do with education and food issues, and let's call it for what it is. It's hunger, and it's everywhere. And a lot of it exists in the farming community, which is an odd thing. That's another conversation we might have one time. But at any rate, I had this little farm. I had a very small amount of product, and I couldn't get into a market anywhere. But I also had relationships through my nonprofit activities with restaurateurs and things in the community where I would bring conferences to them. So I got talking with Paul Shankman, who is the founder of Citrella, now Sam's Chowder House. They were just great, and he and I just got talking, and they've just presented what I call a really lovely Valentine to me and to the community by saying, if you can make it happen, you can have my parking lot and I'll insure you for the first 3 years, which was humongous. So it was huge. And so having that opportunity to site the market there, especially given the history of that building, which it used to be the Producers Exchange, which was all the local growers would bring their produce there, and then it would go out to other communities from that location.
So perfect spot.
So yeah, it was a perfect spot.
So now I've noticed families coming over saying, oh my gosh, they look like Easter eggs. I mean,
they do.
I don't know if our viewers have ever had farm fresh eggs, but there's a world of difference. And you said they've gone back to the original, what eggs are supposed to be? What did you mean by that?
What I meant by that is that every egg that you're going to buy in a grocery store, whether it's a very high-end thing like a Whole Foods or a Draeger's, if they're producing them in that quantity, as a general rule, they're going to come from one or two different kinds of birds that by the nature of the business they have to keep in some kind of confinement. And it still might be cage-free, it might be some other thing, but it's not a wild environment for them.
Oh, I see.
And chickens are not vegetarians. They are omnivores, and if they don't get a nice balance of both grains and basically animal protein, like worms, bugs, snails, slugs, all that kind of thing, they're not going to produce the egg that our grandparents ate, which was one that had perfectly balanced lipids, where the good cholesterol was way up here and the bad cholesterol was not in them at all, where the protein structure was extremely muscular and really solid, and it was a perfect food until we industrialized chickens and fed them nothing but either corn, which there's no living being that can do anything with corn when they eat it except change it into sugar or fat. And not necessarily the good kind of fat. So it's not just happening to chickens, it's happening to people, it's happening to the chicken we eat, it's happening all over the place. So the chickens that I raise I work with the American Livestock Breed Recovery Project, which is looking to broaden the diversity of our food stock, which is under siege, and not just with chickens, but that's what I'm able to do.
Sure.
So I have a flock of 200 right now. About 180 of them are hens. I only have nine roosters at the moment.
180 hens and 9 roosters. They're happy guys.
They're happy guys, and the girls are happy. So, so there are all these different varieties that you normally wouldn't see in any kind of a production setting. And some of them are actually quite rare. There's less than 1,000 breeding pairs left in the world.
Wow.
So, like, it's just a very unusual thing to ever see an egg.
Yes.
That color.
I don't think I've ever seen a polka dot egg before, other than when I dyed myself.
Or one like this. These come from a thing called a copper moran. As you can see, what happens with these, I mean, they're beautiful, but this protein that gets deposited on their scratches and things like that, so people didn't want them because they didn't look perfect. Like, they didn't look perfect like a beautiful, perfect white egg. And one of the real problems with white eggs is a lot of them come out of relatively rare hens, but because of the market desire that was driven by this whole white egg, because you could see that they were clean, you could see that they didn't have any detritus or whatever on them, they sort of became this standard. And there's so many people that will go through these and be absolutely shocked to discover that white eggs don't get bleached, that yes, you can have a beautifully foraged, perfectly pastured egg, and it will be white. And I always tell people there's a beautiful painting by Vermeer that's called A Bowl of Eggs, and it's this beautiful silver bowl, and it's just full of these beautiful glowing white eggs. And believe me, they were not bleaching them.
No.
So
the last thing I think we should cover is we didn't mention the name of the product. I think it's so cute.
So Farm Fatales is this, it's, and I like to have fun.
That's right.
But it's kind of a deadly serious thing. Sure, because a lot of these girls are knockouts and they're beautiful, and so I definitely have fun with that, and they're going to be the death of me. That's probably true too, but they are all a number of breeds that are in jeopardy, and so I have fun with it, but it's great because it provokes questions.
Sure.
And all the different colors provoke questions.
So you get to educate people.
And myself too. It keeps me interested, but I think it's really important for people to understand that exchange that you make, when you actually make the choice in your life to invest in your health and invest in the food, and that means you're investing in the farmer that farmed it, which means you're investing in your community.
Sure.
And so in the markets like this, that's the whole bow on the package, is that we've done a lot of work to get a number of programs in here, like our EBT program, Market Match, a number of these programs that we have for seniors that we've worked through Congresswoman Spears' office to have here. And we're the pilot project for a number of market ideas in San Mateo County, which is great fun because we have this little geographic isolation that allows us to really get a test group that stays solid. People typically, if they live in Half Moon Bay and they're going to shop the Half Moon Bay market, or live in Pacifica and shop the Pacifica market, typically don't bomb over to this guy. Right. They don't go to the other markets that pop up. They kind of tend to stay cohesive, so we can track that. But the multiplier effect that happens when you have a farmer's market where the bulk of your growers and producers and food vendors are from within the county, that means the money that gets spent here stays here.
Of course. Well, Erin, congratulations on your years of success with both markets and on your own eggs and farm. That's just fantastic. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. Thanks for coming down. It was my pleasure.